Elements of Woodacre, Book 1, by Ayre. Chapter 1, Leave Me Alone. Sprawled atop a maple leaf in the woods where I was born, I liked my life. Perfectly lonely. Better than being around anyone else, I thought. Inside was so crowded, nymphs crammed in every corner. At least out here I got my own personal perch. Shapers said foliage was dangerous. And that's how well I listen. I frequented leaves to watch the forest life going through their motions. Like a ballroom dance. Skunks and foxes, ladybugs and skinks, all the way down to tiny dust mites and tinier water bears, each with their own distinct promenades one would never clearly see from the heart of a tree. Why doesn't anyone realize? I wondered aloud while no one listened. This is safe. A drifter edged toward my valley. The tiny woodland animals caught the scent on the breeze and scattered. Wolf? Bear? Some terrible crosser? Everything outside the maple grove was blurry to me. The creature made it to the shade. A young human. I hated their kind, always scaring or destroying the more interesting life. Vermin. The boy was dressed in garish human apparel. A dark blue backpack, blue shorts, and a light blue shirt, like he was actively taunting the sky. His skin, eyes, and hair were all brown, making it clear that despite great potential, this humanling had zero ability to camouflage. Of all his clothes, only the shoes blended into the environment, coated as they were with mud. The boy slid down the slope clumsily, landing atop the very same roots which delivered nutrients to the leaf on which I stood. Now this is interesting. I doubled over in laughter. The boy's backpack was slick with mud. Hilarious, I thought. Humans hate nature. They were always taking pieces of our forest and replacing it with their rubbish. A few thousand years ago, the words for human and rubbish were one and the same. Now, like divine punishment, this boy had nature all over his body. He looked up. Is he going to cry? I had to get a closer look. Humans are so beautifully ugly when they cry. I jumped into the air and dove face first into the leaf. I was born inside a tree. They named me Maple Twig for the way I am. Everyone I ever met was a nymph of the land, water, or sky, or somewhere in between. River nymphs, rock nymphs, nymphs of dirt and dust, winter and autumn, all sorts, and wood nymphs like myself. We nymphs live busy lives. You think your society of some few billion humans is fast-paced? There are 19 trillion nymphs in my maple alone. No shortage of things to do inside the wooden roots where we carve out our homes. Still, I wanted more. When you want for too much, you forget your intrinsic value. Annoying memories of pond ochre bent my ear. Nymphs do not have parents. We have shapers, older and wiser nymphs, who take responsibility in bestowing younger nymphs with knowledge and skills. I have 6. I aim to visit them at least once a century, but, time gets away. My shapers told me scary stories about leaves. Ochre once warned, "Twigs, stop! Leaves and buds are sought out by wraiths. They build forces from the souls of fallen nymphs as you would surely be. We've told you so many times, and now this? If you value your life, you will remain here in the Heartwood." Never or since had pond ochre looked so serious. Still, why should I listen? I continued to go out, to watch the animals wrestle and witness mushroom spores taking flight. Not once did I imagine I was in the presence of a wraith. And at the end of all that, I got to see a human fall and eat mud. If that's wrong, wraiths take me.
Twig! There he is! That's Ayre! I'm telling you! Twig!
To descend a tree quickly, nymphs typically use the core. It's a ring of thin tubes around the center of our tree, connecting the water-absorbing roots to the living wood and branches above. With the core acting as a hub of transportation, it is inevitable you will encounter nymphs you know. Can I pretend I don't recognize his voice? I decided to be polite. Clover, look at you, over here, in Maple, so far from your roots. Always a pleasure to host. I held my breath. Come on, Clover, read the fake smile. Let me go. Twig! He stretched out my name. We're close, aren't we? Call me Dust. Clover gestured at the wood nymphs around her. I wouldn't call any of you Maple. Fine, Clover. I suppressed a sigh. Dust? See, there's this thing I have to... You know, Dust interrupted. Maples around here told me you haven't been involved. I scoffed. In what? Dust raised his eyebrows and shrugged. Anything, you know? That's concerning, Twig. Everyone's interests change, but you seem like you've lost interest in everything at all. Are you okay in there? I'm fine. Okay. Just know I'm looking for an opportunity to clear the air. Blow a bit of breeze through this miasma I've been feeling. He leaned closer. See, the thing is, I didn't tell any of these other maples I was going to spill the seeds on what they said about you. If we don't get this resolved, to be frank, it'll make me look like a jerk. You wouldn't want that. Fix your own problems, Clover, I thought. Twig, you in there? How can we fix this? Let's sprout a new interest, or dig into an old one. I'll help. I just want to see you well. And I don't know about these other nymphs, but I've got all day. All season. Don't give in. Come on, Twig. Give us something so we can help you get better. I heard you've been spending time at the outer reaches. There. Dust didn't know it, but he had messed up. I have, I said. Twig, 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 he chided. You know you shouldn't waste your time on those leaves. They're pointless. Too true, I agreed. It's best you all keep your distance from fringes like that. I patted his shoulder. Wouldn't want you endangering carbon workers like me. Shock spilled across their faces. Clover flinched. You're working carbon? Oh, Twig, if you need a loan... Oh, don't you worry your Clover heart. This isn't for credit. I dig the smell. That shut her up. Nymphs born as carbon workers tend to die as carbon workers, all too often never having left home, stranded in the tree's furthest extremities. Plants like maple rely on carbon extraction for existence, so they produce sweet smells which encourage wood and water nymphs to stick their noses in and produce more and more of that sweet-smelling sludge. From outside, it's easy enough to see the trap. Working carbon is a dull life compared to the festivities of the root and core. Most nymphs stay away from carbon workers, worried that even by association they might come to crave the aroma. We could still talk, Dust said, trying to salvage his good deed. Carbon, huh? Must be something bothering you. Wouldn't you know there is? I said. Too bad I'm late for my shift. Rot these responsibilities. Let's catch up soon. Clover Dust shouted after me as I stepped back into the core. Yeah, I muttered. Real soon. I shot down to a low branch and picked a familiar twig. Still there? He was. Covered in mud and tears, the boy was rolling around on his back. I missed the crying? I sat on my leaf and waited for the human to go. He struggled to roll himself over, which was already amusing enough. Then, as he tried to climb out of the culvert, he slipped and lost his balance. Again. His forehead smashed into the hillside. I nearly rolled off my leaf, laughing. Again and again, this human tried to get traction, but slipped before he could make it up the hill. I watched him turn in circles, maybe searching for a better path. He looked straight up at the sky. Stop it! He shouted. Who's he yelling at? I wondered aloud. He gave it a running start. The human slipped before even getting to the foot of the hill. His body hit the ground with a resounding slap. As the boy stood up, I lost it. You... it's... I struggled to form words. A mud monster! I stood on the leaf and held my arms out like the boy, blindly stomping in circles. The human wiped sludge from his eyes. I ran across the leaf, doing an exaggerated pratfall. That's enough! He reached up and grabbed the leaf from my tree. What? Panic. Can he do that? Abject terror. Can he see me? I want to go back! I shouted at everyone and no one at all. Well, you can't go anywhere, the boy said. You're stuck here, just like me. You can hear me? I had never heard of any human ever hearing any nymph. Too dangerous. I decided to dive into dirt, as unpleasant as I knew it would be. Of course I can hear you. How come something so small can be so loud? Are you like a toy? A toy? That's it. I climbed up his arm, opened my mouth as wide as I could, and bit down. Ow! He slapped me like I was a mosquito. The forest turned black.